Is that the end? Oh my god. That is the end. Okay. Alright, well, dang, dude. Alright. We're going to go ahead and continue on with our normal process here. Alright, okay, so first things first. The bottom center of the screen says that we've beaten 111 games this year and 433 since we started doing this in 2020. Those numbers are now lies. We've now beaten 112 games in 2023 and 434 since we started doing this in 2020. Alright, I definitely have some thoughts on this game. Let me tell you this. I expected to enjoy this game a bit. I figured it wouldn't be worthless. There are some indie games that I have played that have completely blown me away. Just because of how amazing they are. Or I guess maybe indie isn't the right word, but some games that I didn't see coming. That I played because somebody told me I should, or somebody requested them. And then they ended up completely blowing me away. The Outer Wilds is one, and Subnautica is another one. And there are 7 or 8 more since I started doing this. This game is not of that tier, where it just completely blows me away with zero expectations. I did go into it with very little expectation. It didn't quite get to blowing me away level, but it did get to whatever the tier below that is, where I was incredibly impressed with it, and the gameplay loop was extremely addictive, and I was very invested in what was going on in the story, and I was loving the actual gameplay and the exploration and all of that. I really, really did enjoy this game far, far more than I thought I would. And on top of that, I mentioned The Outer Wilds and Subnautica. This game, if I had to describe it to someone that knew both of those games, I would say it's kind of a mix of those two games. And it's got the exploration and wonder of going to some corner of the map and just getting into something that Outer Wilds has. It's not that deep, but it's got that flavor, right? And it's got a very similar flavor that it can be found in Subnautica, where you're just out in the open ocean and it's terrifying and you're trying to piece together a mystery. So I guess in both of those games you really are trying to piece together a mystery. And this is like that too. It's not quite as in-depth as either of those games. Those two games probably have the most holy shit moments I've ever seen in a video game. This game had a couple, though. This game had a couple holy shit moments. So I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think I would quite call it a masterpiece, but whatever, it's A tier, right? Maybe not S tier, maybe not God tier, but A tier experience. The gameplay loop was incredibly addictive. I loved the loop of catching fish, selling them, upgrading your boat so that you can find bigger fish and have better equipment to catch bigger fish that are worth more money, and doing that loop. And then on top of that, you've got all the story stuff where you have to find all the other things that aren't fish. That's kind of driving the story along. Very well put together. Very well crafted experience. Indie Game of the Year for 2023. I can't think of a better one right now. I'll have to go through my list and look. There are some very good ones, like Cocoon comes into my mind, and I really, really enjoyed Cocoon, but I think I enjoyed this significantly more than Cocoon. Not necessarily because it's a better game, but because it definitely caters to my interests more precisely. I not that I'm into fishing games, but that's really just the very beginning of what this game is. So I as far as critiques, I mean, I can't think of a one. The art style is awesome. The way that the world is built is incredible. Like I said, the gameplay's fun. It's very addictive. The story is great. I think this might be the first game from this developer, Black Salt Games, and what a way to start your development career. I mean, I know this game is getting a lot of like indie game of the year nods and accolades and stuff like that, and it's getting a lot of attention, but they deserve every ounce of it. This game has been really, really incredible. I'm trying to think if there was one thing about this game that I didn't like, and I cannot think of one. And that almost never happens. I cannot think of one thing about this game I would change. Can I? No, I can't. The only reason this game isn't going to be a top 10 game is that it doesn't cater to my specific interests in gaming as precisely as something like Elden Ring or The Last of Us Part 2 or something, or Resident Evil 4 remake. This game, but if I was really into indie games and fishing games and exploration games, this would be pretty close to the top of my list. It was incredible. It really was. It's going to rank very well. The only reason it's not going to rank super, super high, like top 10, is because there are some games that go even farther, like Subnautica and Outer Wilds. But I will say, if you're a fan of either of those games, this is worth a playthrough, for sure. And it's far shorter than both of those games. I think it took me about 9 hours, which is the how long to beat time. Worth every moment. And I hurried through the last part. There's a lot of optional stuff I did not do that I was factually compelled to do. I did way more side content in this game than I normally do. So that on its own speaks to the addictiveness of the game. So thoroughly enjoyed it. Very impressed. Don't know why I waited this long to play it. All right, last order of business. Dredge, it has been a blast. But we are now going to delete you from our console and never play you again. Bye. Thank you. We enjoyed you.